All right, good afternoon, good late afternoon, and welcome to a special edition of Coffee. I forgot, no, it was Coffee, Buses and Politics. And today is possibly the most stressful day of a political career. I mean, the elections are quite stressful, aren't they?
Yeah, not for me, mate.
Not for you. But so what's happening at the moment is that nominations for the district and town council and parish council elections closed at 4:30. And what normally happens is they appear on the HDC website about now. So every single politician in Huntingdonshire is busily hitting F5 on their computers to see as the nomination papers appear. And what we thought we'd do is do kind of like a live unboxing video as we see who we're standing up against. And Alex, me, possibly David, will see our political careers evaporate as we see we've got stronger candidates who we can't beat, perhaps. So South Cambs have already published theirs. And I think my friend Richard was telling me that there's not a full slate of reform in South Cambs. So what are we expecting to see here? So what we're expecting to see, I think, is a full slate of Conservatives. Yeah, I can tell you there won't be a full slate of Greens, but we will be standing in every seat and have multiple candidates in some seats. Do we think we're going to see reform in every seat or not? What do you reckon, Alex?
Well, in Huntingdonshire. I think Huntingdonshire is a former UKIP stronghold, so your history suggests there's going to be a full suite of reform. I have to say, being blunt about it, I hope not, but I strongly suspect that's going to be the case.
Okay, so David said he's going to join in on chat. He's obviously too nervous to see what's happening. He's predicting, so he's standing for Huntingdon North at Town Council.
Yeah.
Which is there 3 seats or 4 seats at Huntingdon North?
4.
And he's predicting at least 11 candidates for 4 seats, and possibly more if reform go full slate in that seat as well. So that's good news, I think. I think what's always quite disappointing is quite often we see town and parish councils and sometimes district council elections uncontested, which I think is really, really disappointing for the electorate. And I'm not sure we're going to see that very much this year. But
I have to say, I've stood uncontested before. And as a candidate who stood uncontested, it's bloody good for you.
You
don't have to believe that anymore in the short campaign, but I think, I think it's kind of unfair for voters. And I think if I was in a seat and it's not your fault you're uncontested and you find out, I'll feel like a bit guilty. Like if I just win by default without putting in the campaign work. So I think obviously it's not your fault. So I'm not blaming anyone who is uncontested.
And I'm going to be an utter hypocrite here as well, because it always makes you feel good because it means you've got another 4 years and whatever. But the other part of that for me is because all these elections are first past the post. One of the things that really, really bothers me is some of these seats you're going to get people winning with something like 20% of 20% of the vote, which is I think it's something like 4% of the electorate. And I have real concerns about that.
So in the last set of district elections, I think it's Sawtrey. I think that Ross Martin, he was a young unelected councillor in his first stint, was elected unopposed, as was the legend that is Simon Bywater, which makes no difference because Simon would have got elected anywhere there, I think. But so it does happen. It happened in Huntingdonshire. It happened quite a lot.
Didingworth as well was uncontested, which is in my county patch for county. It's it was uncontested in 2022, like the Holywell and Didingworth division.
While we're waiting for and we're hoping they're going to appear, they might not appear, in which case it's going to be us talking crap for a little bit until we get bored. Can we just observe though the magnificent suntan that Martin is showing?
Yes.
You're joining us from the Malta studio, aren't you? And you've certainly been enjoying the sun, sir. You look very healthy.
I'm in Malta. I've been in Malta for a couple of weeks celebrating my 40th wedding anniversary, and yes, I've seen quite a lot of sun. We did have a bit of rain the first week, but I'm staying in a hotel that is it's probably the most extravagant I've ever spent on a hotel, but it is absolutely magnificent, just with a massive balcony overlooking.
Have you gone Travelodge or Premier Inn?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, It's got a balcony view over the Grand Harbour in Malta, in Valletta. It's fabulous.
So,
Yeah, it's amazing. And
but
my good lady has let
congratulations.
me. And my good lady has let me do this. So
Well,
that's
congratulations to you on 40
yeah,
years of wedding anniversary, and
yeah.
commiserations to your wife, I think, for putting up for you for 40 years. You certainly would. You would
It's not
get
nice.
less murder,
I
wouldn't
did
you?
spend. I did say I should spend the whole of my wedding anniversary just searching for a medal for Angela.
Right, I've accidentally shut the tab, and it's probably going to come up.
No, it's
So,
not there yet. Don't worry.
yeah.
It's being
We
refreshed
are going to be
every
the
50
most
seconds.
distracted we've ever been, because all of us are sitting here and tapping. And what I'm going to do, and I hope this doesn't crash, and I don't really have that many viewers, it's going to crash the website, but I'm going to post a link in chat so any viewers we've got can also tap along too and see when the nominations appear. Now, so South Cams have already published theirs, so they went up at about 20 to 5, I think. So
Yeah.
and I have every confidence that Lisa and the Dem Services team at Huntingdonshire, who I think are the best, Lisa loves an election, will get them up shortly. I don't think there's any reason to have to get them up really quickly. They typically appear about 5 o'clock in my experience, but they might not appear for any number of reasons. And if that's the case, then we'll be miserable for a while, because the suspense is killing me. So where are you standing, Alex? Where are you standing?
St. Ives South, obviously, it's not a surprise.
For district?
Yeah.
You're not standing for town?
No. I think county and district is sufficient.
Triple hatting is possible.
Yeah, triple hatting works. Yeah, I did for a long time. I think triple hatting really works because you're providing some sort of a transference of knowledge across all three councils, and sometimes that is really needed.
Were you working at the time though, or were you full-time counsellor?
No, I was pretty much a full-time counsellor. Not all the time, but most of the time, yeah. And it was made worse, in fact, and more difficult because Fenland moved to daytime meetings, which I've never ever understood.
I mean, honestly, for me, it was because the unitaries are coming in 27, 2028. So I think it's actually
they're out.
Oh my god!
Let's
Wait,
go.
let me refresh. Are you going to share them?
Oh, I can't see mine.
No, I don't see anything.
No, they are up. They're up. Right, I'm just gonna.
Oh, yeah, I see them.
Who's gonna share this? Right, I'm just gonna scroll down to St. East. I don't care about any of the viewers. Oh,
this is live reaction.
What? 2 Lib Dems, 2 Reform. So we've got Lara and I are on a 6-person slate. Nobody who I recognise is the truth. So we've got 2. We've not got a Labour candidate in St. East, which is perhaps interesting. Do you know how many candidates Labour are fielding across the district elections? I can reveal now, because it's out, that the Green Party are fielding 33, so 1 in every ward at least, and multiple in some wards. Sorry, I'm just reading through this. It's not very interesting. Oh wow.
It's not very interesting. Oh wow.
Well, it's not very interesting watching. Does anybody want us? Should we share our screens, or let's just scroll?
I'm not logged in, so I can't do that. So it's up to you, Stephen.
Give me a second. Give me a second. I just want to just check one other thing. Sorry. All right.
Do you want me to sing while we're waiting?
Yeah. Do you want? Yes, please.
Yeah, you're not having that.
we've got we've got elections. Oh no, this is rubbish TV.
Are you trying to share it?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm just looking. I'm just looking.
I can see that. I'm not sure if the reaction was like it's rubbish, like the system of
no,
sharing.
This is rubbish TV. Right. Well, I'm gonna. I don't even know how to do this. Give me a second, and I will try and work out how to share. Leave studio. Does anybody know how to share this on this screen? I'm going to close a few tabs before I share my screen in case you see any of my. I don't want to end my election chances by showing. Not, of course, I have a look at anything that I shouldn't be looking at, but that's just to make sure that there's no confidential Green Party material on my screen, and I will work out how to share it.
It's difficult to know where to even start. I think we should start from the first one and then predict, and then do prediction on each of the seats.
Okay.
And see if anything.
I'm just going to predict the Greens are going to win everywhere because I'm a party loyalist. I'm just. Does anybody?
The best way of doing it is to take a screen dump, and then you should be able to add the screen dump as a file.
What of each nomination? We should probably have rehearsed this.
There might be another way. Yeah, we're nothing if not professional.
Do you know what? David knows how to do this, and he's not here. He's done it before. Right, keep talking, people, while I look at this because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see how. Yeah, I think it does look like a reform full slate, but I'm still going through the document.
Share screen, okay. Share screen. Oh God. Right, I just need.
So this is what you need on live podcasts: a bit of tension.
Yes, it's the suspense until everyone sees.
Right. Can you see? Can anybody see my screen? Is that working yet or not?
No, I can't see anything.
Chrome has lost permission to capture your. Oh no. Let me open it up in Safari and see if we can do that. Sorry, everybody. We didn't plan this very well.
I didn't expect when it shouted, Stephen, like it's up there. Like I think everyone is very. I'm
sure everybody listening is also in complete excitement, looking at their own candidates. I am going to try one more thing.
Well, it leaves a bit of time to, I guess, collect our thoughts until we share the screen.
Right, share screen again. Oh, this is awful. I'm sorry.
I think we might just have to go through them rather than do it that way.
All right, let's. Oh, so according to Lara, who's also in chat, the Reform don't have a full slate because there's at least one. So let's start off.
Interesting.
Right, let's start off in Alconbury then, and maybe viewers, if they really care, it might just be us looking at this, can look through themselves. So starting in Alconbury, we have. For Liberal Democrats, Sarah Kane, who is from St Neots East, stood against.
You expected her to stand in your area?
She told us she wasn't going to stand, and so I guess she's standing as a paper candidate in Alconbury, which is one of the Green target seats. We've done well in the past. We have Chip from the Green Party. We have Ian Gardner, who is stalwart of the Conservative Party, and then we have. Joy Isaacs, who I've never heard of, and Roger Lane. It's Joy Isaacs from Labour and Roger Lane from Reform. So my prediction is that will be a 2-horse race between the Conservatives and the Greens, and you're not going to get me bigging up the Green chances in many places, but that I think is one that we might win. Any views? Anybody in Alconbury?
I think we should do each of us 3 prediction. My prediction is Tory hold by a bit.
I out of loyalty to Chip, and I know because he's working quite hard there, I'm going to go for. I think we have a chance of winning it. So and if you look on the websites, they also say we have a chance of winning that one. So I'm going to go for Chip for that one. Any predictions, Martin, or don't know?
I don't really know, but my guess, knowing what I know about Alconbury, is it's probably going to be a Conservative hold. But all of these are so unknown because of the widespread of candidates and the way people view politics. It's one of the exciting things about these elections is you just don't know.
Yeah, well, the fun thing is we can all make our predictions, and then we can do coffee buses and politics after the election results and seeing how many we got wrong. So we should make a list.
The reason I'm not standing for election is I don't want to be held to account. And there you go.
Yeah, we go. So there's Alconbury. That's the first one. Next one is Brampton, which we have. How many candidates we've got? We've got 2 Lib Dems. Must be a two-person seat. We've got 2 Labour, 2 Lib Dems, a Green Party candidate, 2 Conservatives, and 2 Reform. So that's almost a full slate. We're missing 1 Green, I guess. Now, my prediction for Brampton would always be Lib Dem. That's a Lib Dem heartland. So Liam Beckett is the county councillor. So he's got some history. So I reckon the Lib Dems will probably pick up both of that seat. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I remember the Lib Dems holding that seat when I was a county councillor, and I think it is a bit of a Lib Dem stronghold. And there's a reality, which is the Lib Dems are hard to get rid of once they get in there.
Do you think we can see who the paper candidates are by the ones that are not publishing their addresses? Largely, that's the case, isn't it? Because I
actually have to say, having had issues in the past and for safeguarding reasons, I think all candidates should have the choice and not be criticized for not publishing the address. I think it really depends on your circumstances, and for a lot of people who perhaps live on their own or have had bad experience in the past, I think it's not a great idea to publish.
I agree that I'm not going to criticise anybody, but what I will say, in my own case, I think that it's a vote winner because people will look down the paper, see who lives in the ward, and vote for them often. So it's got to be worth some votes. And that's
I'm not saying it doesn't have an influence; it does, but I don't think it should be like a
no. You should. I'm not going to criticise anybody.
Yeah.
And also now I'm not going to criticise paper candidates either because we've got some.
Well, every party has paper candidates as well. I mean, I actually know, speaking about Brampton, I actually know, Hannah from my time in Cambridge very well. She's a very nice person who used to be, I think, on the council in Cambridge. The same time I was on county council. So, I know there are paper candidates, but it doesn't mean we should criticize them because they're actually often doing a favor to the party, having representation everywhere, allowing people to vote for the party they want.
I do sort of have a problem with it because I've seen circumstances, and it'll happen in these elections where paper candidates get elected, and that does cause issues. And I remember I remember being in situations where you see this happen, and you see people that just don't want to be there. And I sort of get it, and I used to push the Conservatives and say, look, I'd much rather you just if candidates aren't good enough or whatever, or you can't find one, I'd much rather you didn't put somebody there. But that's not the way parties work, is it? They want a candidate in every seat.
No, they don't.
Not necessarily, no.
No, but part of it. I mean, having signed up loads of people this weekend. I mean, I think I've signed the nomination papers on at least 16 candidates this week, and I spent the whole weekend running around doing it. I think it's good that people have a chance to vote. I think it'd be better. I mean, and I realise we also have to target to win and focus our resources in places we can win. But I think it's. I don't know. I'm not sure how useful it is, and if it doesn't muddy the water. And as Richard Tomlinson said to me, if we were still requiring 10 signatures for nominations, we wouldn't have so many paper candidates. Yeah. The fact that you only have 2 makes it quite easy to fill in the papers. Relatively, it's still a massive job across the whole district. But if we had 10, I don't think anybody will be full slating, and there'll be far fewer paper candidates, and also it would be much better for genuine local candidates and independents who would be able to get those signatures in their own wards. And sometimes it muddies up the elections. When I won by 9 votes and you're standing against, in my case, a Labour candidate who'd never been here, those things can change outcomes. But I guess it's democracy. One thing we can say about Brampton is that we will have a new district councillor, because none of those are existing district councillors.
So you're both predicting Lib Dems to win both. I'm predicting one Lib Dem, one Tory here, because I think the vote will split, because you have like 2 Labour and you have 1 Green, and you didn't have those candidates before to the same extent. So I think the vote could split to actually get the Tory in.
How often that does that happen? When you've got 2 votes, though, people are not just going to tick the same box twice.
No, I think a lot of people
I'm hoping in my ward that people are going to tick on Lara's name.
The only times it doesn't, in my thing, is when you've got one standout candidate for whatever reason. So my guess is it'll be a Lib Dem hold on both seats. But
so I've just got a message for Hunsdon North. A bit of Labour news. There's been a defection. If you remember when we were on county council, Keith Prentice was a prominent Conservative. Yeah, I moved to my current district council seat to beat him in 4 years ago. And then a county council, halfway through, he decided that he wanted to be a Labour member. He's back on the ballot paper now in Hunsdon North as a Conservative again. So he's gone Labour, Conservative, which is quite an impressive swing.
That's very
how do you do that? I'm going to be critical here. How do you do that so much? Especially when the Conservative Party and the Labour Party is so far apart at the moment. I really, really struggle with that. Good luck to him, but and hats off to him for standing. But how do you do that?
So interesting one now in Buckton. No, I don't understand how you do it either. And as a recent defector, I'm not doing it very much. But
you're not a defector, but.
Do you know what I mean? But I'm also like I don't think I'm a defector because I signed up for the political party for the first time, and I think it's different. But keep changing between parties on separate sides of the spectrum just seems a bit weird. But we'll keep him what he's doing. On to Buckton then, where we have a 6-candidate roster, and for the first time we've got an independent, and I think that is currently interesting. Seat. Although Martin Hassel was elected as a Liberal Democrat, and Buckton is a Lib Dem hotbed, he might stand a chance. I haven't heard of Sean Calvin, who is the Lib Dem, but I suspect that will be, I want to say Martin out of loyalty because he's my friend, but I think maybe in Buckton the Lib Dems will hold that one.
I think it's a very difficult one to predict because you have every party plus independents, so it'll be a 6-way split when you can win on 20%. So I think it could be a Lib Dem hold. I think independent could win based on the independent bill. And I also think you could split the vote on the left or the center left enough to get the Conservative in as well.
So is it, can I just, it's one, that there's one person going to be elected and there's 6 candidates?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think you can be unpredictable there.
But Buckton has previously been a Conservative seat. But my guess is, it wouldn't surprise me if the Greens won that. I just think the Conservative vote will split.
So okay. Well, let's see. Right, on to Fen Stanton, which is for one seat, I guess. We have Conservative, we have Reform, we have a Lib Dem, and we have a Green Party candidate. And in Fen Stanton, those are 4 new candidates as well. They certainly weren't part of the last administration or last council. Fen Stanton previously, I think, was Claire Tevlin. which was Liberal Democrat. And again, I think this is a Lib Democrat heartland. And so, given that the Lib Dems, maybe I'm failing to predict the rise of reform in some of these places, but these places which are semi-rural, I expect the Lib Dems will do quite well because they've got a good reputation and they haven't been very controversial in general because they don't have any policies. So,
I think it depends on the level of campaigning as well, especially when you have new candidates. But I would say it will be a Lib Dem hold, that one, even with a new candidate. But yeah.
I just want to make a point about policies here. You know my view on this. The candidate is the far and away the most important thing in local elections. It's not political party. And political parties announcing national policy to try and win votes in local elections makes absolutely no sense at all. The Conservatives announced this stupid policy about potholes, where they were basically going to nationalise pothole and pothole services. And there's two things about it. However, is a local candidate going to have, especially a newly elected one, have any say on how the Conservatives are going to implement that policy? It makes absolutely no sense at all. But secondly, you know, what has it got to do with a local election? And, you know, the Conservatives will never, ever implement that policy. Never.
Well, I think there's plenty of leaflet examples from all parties. Like, I think the ones that annoy me the most are the NHS ones, and there's several parties, including Labour materials in the past, Lib Dem materials, and others. I don't use any of this, you know, in my ones because I obviously know that you can promise whatever on the NHS. It is a national policy area, and I can like advocate for changes, but I can't change the policy on that. And I think that's, it does upset me when I see leaflets like that.
The issue is, how well are you as a candidate going to represent the people that you represent as a councillor? And ultimately, that's what it's about. How is whipping going to come into play to it? How is that individual's stature, that individual's ability to make a debate, both at council meetings and group meetings? All those things all matter. Voting for a party because their central party is saying they're going to nationalise potholes, absolutely nothing to do with how you vote locally. Sorry, getting angry about this, but it really does wind me up.
So still in Lib Dem heartlands, which is maybe an indication of how well they're going to do, is we're on to Godmanchester, Hemmingford Abbots, which is a 3-member seat, and also the seat of the current leader, Sarah Conboy, and also Brett Mickelberg, who is on the cabinet with me at HDC, and Debbie, who's chair of DMC. Godmanchester is as yellow as they come, I think. And I can't imagine. Sarah polled the greatest number of votes 4 years ago. I got the second highest number of votes in the district. I'm just saying that. And I can't imagine that Sarah, I mean, after her performance as leader, is going to do badly there. And I expect that's going to be 3 Lib Dems.
I can't see anything else than that. You know, Sarah's leader, she has done a good job as a leader. I also know she's well known in that area. So my guess is that's going to, you're right.
So we've got a full slate of Conservative, full slate of reforms, 2 Labour and 2 Reform. Yeah, go on, Alex.
I think the most likely outcome is 3 Lib Dems, but I don't think it's impossible to have 2 Lib Dems at either Reform or another party, again, due to how many candidates there are and the vote split. I don't think is necessary. Like, I think Sarah definitely will get through and probably is the
depends
most
how good depends how good the Lib Dems bar charts are.
Yes, that as well. And also it depends how much they target there as well, because if you think you're safe in that seat, you might put the effort somewhere else. But if other parties actually do campaigning, you might lose whoever comes the third as a result of not putting your resources there. So yeah, it depends how much the Lib Dems stay there as candidates or help out in other areas. I've seen many election results where you get 2 out of 3 and you leave place for another to squeeze through the middle of the vote split.
So on to Great Paxton, which is, well, it's half my old county ward, And when I was first at it, it was a Conservative hotbed. During a by-election, it went to Lib Dems, with James Catmer, who's not standing again, apparently. And so this is a one-member seat. We've got 4 candidates. We've got 1 Lib Dem, 1 Reform, 1 Conservative, and 1 Green. Now, I know from my friends in the Conservative Party, this is one of their target seats, I think. So I'm going to say that the Conservatives might pick this one up. It used to be their heartland. Interestingly, there's no Labour candidate here, and this is the ward in which Nick Johnson lives. And so Nick's going to have to vote non-Labour this time, if he wants to vote, because he's got 4 candidates and no Labour candidates.
You can always follow your ballot.
Huh?
You can always follow your ballot, or just say none of the above.
I think that's one of those seats where the Greens or Reform might win it, to be honest, because I think without having a Labour candidate there, where are those votes going to go? And it'll be either Reform or Green. Probably Green.
Labour do very well in Great Paxton, though, in general, and so I don't think it's going to be a big factor. My view, predicting where Nick's going to vote, is that he will vote with the genuine party of the left and vote for the Greens, unless he's voting technically. He might vote Lib Dem. I don't know. I can't imagine he's going to vote Lib Dem. I reckon he won't tell us anyway, so we'll never know. So that's fine. I spoke to him on the phone yesterday. I had a very nice conversation with him. Great Staunton. Go on.
Great Paxton, my prediction is Tory, by the way, there.
Right. All right, so we're agreed.
So I agree with Stephen on that one.
Right, Great Staunton, which is out in the west of the district, very rural. Stephen Corley, Stephen's not the existing. He's an existing councillor. I don't think he's the existing councillor for this ward, though. I'm not quite sure. So we've got 1 Conservative, 1 Reform, 1 Lib Dem, 1 Labour, and another Green Party candidate. This, to me, I think would be a Conservative as well.
Yes, I agree.
I think there's a bit of wishful thinking going on here, and I think we might be underestimating the Reform vote. I'd like to think Conservative. I'd like to think Conservative, but the Reform is such an unknown.
How do we feel Reform will poll in very rural areas? That's a hard one, isn't it? It's a hard one to predict. We normally think of, typical Reform voters are from urban areas and worried about immigration. Immigration doesn't have such a big effect in some of these areas. And in fact, the effect it has is that we don't have enough farm workers quite often, and we don't get people to pick the crops.
But if you look at Huntingdonshire in 2012, there were a lot of UKIP councillors from Huntingdonshire.
Right, and so, but I wonder if they might do better in the north of the county.
Yes.
So you going for Reform on this one, are you?
I'm not. I don't know enough about it, but I'm sitting and listening to what we're all saying, and I think it may be a bit of wishful thinking that we're underestimating Reform. Remember, they're polling very well nationally, and that's a big indicator.
Yeah, well, Stephen's a decent chap, so I think the Conservatives will win that one. Again, what you say, Alex?
Yes, I think it will be Conservative there, but I do agree. I think the Reform will pick up seats in north of Huntingdonshire, especially in places like Yaxley and Ramsey. In particular. I think actually the Tory vote is retaining quite well in villages like Great Staunton, like looking at some of the other results in the past, whereas in other parts of the country they're actually losing a lot more vote share. So I think this one will be Conservative, but again, anything can happen with all the parties standing for one member ward.
On to Hemmington, Grey and Houghton, which probably is one of the wealthiest or wealthier areas in Huntingdonshire. This is obviously a 2-person ward. We've got 2 Lib Dems, 2 Conservatives, 1 Reform, 1 Labour, and 1 Green. So Reform certainly aren't putting out a full slate, are they? Which is what I've been led to believe, and was quite surprising. Oh, we've also, how about
this? Very interesting.
Animal Welfare Party, People, Animals, Environment. So Jackie Cook. Well done for Jackie to standing as some sort of independent with a badge on it. So that's interesting. I think we don't see many of those. We don't see many of those at district council level.
No, I haven't come across before in Huntingdonshire list. It's interesting.
So David Keane, I think, must be the existing candidate. He is the distant councillor there for the Conservatives. And David does a very good job on social media, but as I have pointed out to him, doesn't talk very much at council, which I always find very disappointing. I think this might be, and there's two reforms here. There are two reforms here. I think this might be reform. I might go double reform on this. Or Conservative.
I'll go one Tory, one reform.
Yeah, same. Because I think David's got a good reputation.
Yeah, I think it's David plus one reform.
I think it might be reform, but we'll see.
Right, so you're going to reform. Right, let's Holywell come Needingworth, which is also two-member ward. We've got 2 reforms, 2 Conservative, 1 Labour and 1 Green. John Nish is a Conservative Party candidate. John used to be the deputy leader, and Paul Hodgson-Jones are 2 rather prominent Conservatives in the chamber. It's not going to be a Lib Dem. Yeah, it's not going to be Labour. I think it's Reform versus Conservatives. I've got a lot of time for John Nish as a person. Do you know John? Martin?
No, I don't think I do. No.
We'll have to take him out for a drink.
No.
I think I might go one Reform, 1 Conservative, because this is kind of a part. It's on the edge of
you're letting your heart rule your head, mate. But
2 Reform, do you reckon?
I think if it's either going to be Reform or Conservative, and it'll be two of one and 2 of the other. I'm going to say Conservative, but
all right. So on to the interesting ones then. Ones we might know something about. Yeah, Huntingdon East, which is
this is very exciting.
2-member ward.
I love seeing Romanian-born Reform candidates.
What?
Yes.
Really?
The first guy at the top, Romanian name. I've just seen a couple in South Cambs as well, so I think there's probably.
Haven't the people of Huntingdonshire had enough of Romanian-born councillors? That sounds really bad. Don't clip that, please. I was just making a joke about it.
It's really interesting. Yeah,
it is.
YouTube shorts. That's it.
Do you know them, Alex? No, I don't suppose.
I don't know every single Romanian in the UK. No, and I actually don't have any Romanians I know who are in Reform UK either. So I think
it wouldn't be a friend of yours. So for the Labour Party, do you know Bobby, Louise, Zara, Dolan, Ansari, which is a long name, isn't it? You got 5 different names in that one.
I do actually know both the candidates here.
Joe Harvey and Joe Harvey and Nathan Hunt are both current Liberal Democrat district councillors. Joe is on the cabinet with me and is fabulous. Nathan is also a fabulous young councillor. I would go to Lib Dem for Huntingdon East. Although, I don't know the geography well enough. What are you saying, Alex? Don't say 2 Labour.
No, it's 2 Lib Dems at the moment. I think it's one of the most unpredictable ones now, given the slate, because I think it's kind of like assumed to be like a 2 Lib Dem safe seat. I think it'll only be 1 Lib Dem. Now the second one, I think the most likely the second one to be is actually Conservative, again because of the vote split. However, saying that, when we did obviously Huntingdon North and Hartford in the county, Reform actually was performing really, really well in the Hartford side, which is in Huntingdon East. So it wouldn't surprise me, especially if they do some campaigning there would be 1 Reform, just knowing how the county results looked like there last year in the Hartford part.
So we're going for 1 Reform, 1 Lib Dem then.
Lib Dem, yeah.
Well, okay. Any view on that?
Yeah, I think that'll be Lib Dem.
Both.
Yeah.
I actually thinking about this. Also, it depends where the Lib Dems are putting the resource. And I have to say, Nathan and Joe are probably the most active campaigners in the Lib Dems in terms of door knocking, leafleting, and so on. So I think, there is a circumstance where both hold their seats due to the work they put in locally. So that's not an impossible scenario at all.
All right, so on to Huntingdon North. What a battle! What a battle! I've just counted, and I think I 15. Right,
this
so
is extremely exciting here.
Including the entirety of the current district council Labour contingent. So we've got Sam Wakeford, we've got Marion and Patrick Cadawari. This is the ward with the Oxmoor on it. We also have somebody who I'm very fond of, is Leanne Simpson, who's an independent who runs Diamond Hampers and is very well known, especially around the Oxmoor. We've got hopefully 2 reforms. I can count 2 there. I've only got 2 reforms. No, 3 reforms, obviously.
Oh, yeah, no, it's 3.
3 Lib Dems. 3 Conservatives, including Lido George, who's also county councillor and very prominent. And Keith Prentice, who is sometimes Labour, sometimes Conservative, as is Lido George, actually, isn't he? There's a lot of
So, Stephen, it's all the uni party, I have to say.
Yeah, and my mate Ryan Grange is a good lad as well. And also for the Greens, we also have we got 2 Greens here? Did I see Georgie here? Yeah, Georgie Hunt is also there for the Greens as well. So we've got 2 Greens.
Yeah,
and Georgie is a parliamentary candidate. We'll have some good name recognition. Nathan's sister, and also absolutely fabulous. I'm not just saying that because I'm biased, but she's great as well. This is one hell of a battle. It really is. Like, my prediction is that we're going to get Leanne Simpson as an independent, because I think she's a really, really, really strong independent. Yeah, and then 2 reforms. I reckon Labour are going to get wiped out of this ward. If anybody survives, it will be Patrick.
Yeah, I think it's probably 1 Labour, 1 independent, and 1 reform, but it's not impossible to have 2 Labour, 1 reform in there.
I think that just based on demographics, I think Reform are going to do very well here. The only thing that might save a few people is some of those people that might have voted Reform might go Green. That sounds a bit weird, but a lot of that is about protest votes and stuff like that, and the Greens are going to pick up protest votes in the same way as Reform are. That's the only thing that might save them, but my guess is Reform are going to do very well there.
Right. Kimbolton. Kimbolton is a very wealthy rural area with a prominent private school where my stepdaughters go. We have one seat, 1 Green, 1 Labour, 1 Conservative, 1 Lib Dem, and 1 Reform. I can't imagine that Jonathan Gray, who is the former leader of the district council, of the county council, sorry, of the Conservative group at district council, never led the council. Jonathan is well entrenched there. I think that would be, I'd be surprised to see Jonathan lose his seat, but it happens.
Yeah, I think it would be Tory Holt there.
Good. Yeah,
that'd be my guess as well. Yeah.
Don't tell him. I'm also quite fond of Jonathan as well, but don't tell him that. He often
said it on live stream, Stephen.
Oh shit! And it's also, right, I don't care. Right, Ramsey. I can't count this up.
It's on live stream, Stephen. So what's the next thing you do? You swear.
Right, 14. If my count is up, we've got 14, which must be a 3-member.
Yeah,
I think it is.
It is.
In Ramsey. Jeff Clark is a current Conservative. Ryan Coogan is a very prominent local Reform. I think he's the leader I think he's a former mayoral candidate, isn't he, Ryan Coogan?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
For mayor, and came second there.
I'm going for Ramsey. I'm going 3 reforms.
Yeah.
I agree.
It used to be, it was cited as UKIP's stronghold in the UK at one point, wasn't it? So I can't see it being anything other than a UKIP win. I don't know if you remember the previous UKIP county councillor for there was in the I think when he won, he was in the Sun on a high profile article in the Sun about the fact that he used to clean the toilets, which I never quite understood. But yeah, it's going to be a UKIP win.
Right, Sawtry. This is an interesting one because Sawtry, which is up the A1, kind of halfway between Alconbury and Peterborough, is the sort of place I would think that Reform would do very well. Having said that, the two candidates for the Conservatives in Sawtry are the current leader, Ross Martin, and the former UKIP current Conservative Marine policeman legend that is Simon Bywater, also one of my friends. I like Simon a lot. Get on all right with Ross as well, to be honest. I think that's going to be a battle, though. I think Simon will win because he's Simon. I think there's a chance that Ross might lose his seat there, you know.
I think it'll either be a Reform win or it'll be a Conservative win. My guess is it's going to be two Conservatives. I think they're both good candidates. There's an incumbency factor in there, and I suspect that incumbency factor will be quite high. So my guess is they'll both win.
Yeah, I think it will be Tory hold uncontested last time, but two Conservatives there. What's really interesting is like someone has address in like a different county. Like I think probably that's because they work in the district, because you can work or live in the district. I just think it's the first time I see the address in a different county for locals. It's very interesting.
But it's an indication that the Lib Dems don't think that's winnable as well.
Yeah, I mean, Sawtry is definitely not a Lib Dem heartland, but yeah, it's just interesting because probably they work in Hunts.
There's a big unknown if you've got a big suite of candidates. It's a big unknown, and some of these seats are going to be really, really tight.
Somersham, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Green, Conservative, Labour, Lib Dem, Reform. So basically, full suite. The Conservative is Sarah Louise Hodgson, who must be Paul's wife.
Yes,
so
it's
not an
address, so yes.
I'm gonna go Reform in Somersham.
I think it's Conservative.
I think it's Conservative as well. Just knowing the history of that seat, even when Reform were at their strongest, there was Conservative in Somersham. So my guess is Conservative.
Right, the next one is an important one. Is St Neots East, where you have two Greens.
The most important one for you.
Myself and sometime collaborator on this show, Lara Davenport-Ray, who I notice has a hyphen on her name, but she doesn't always. And her middle name is Charlene, which she doesn't describe very often. So Lara and I both sitting district councillors. I'm not a district councillor in this ward, but I have served here previously as a town and county councillor. We have two Lib Dems, two Reform, two Conservatives. No Labour for a change. I needed Labour not to stand. And actually, no, we've only got one Reform. No, we've got two Reforms.
No, there's two, because one was withdrawn.
Fiona Corbyn, who we expected to be the Reform candidate, has had a nomination withdrawn. So
yeah, but there's still two. Yeah, there's still two Reforms.
So I bet there was a bit of desperation there. Any predictions for this seat?
Anything but Green, as far as I'm concerned.
So,
no, I think there's a big bit of incumbency there, and I think the Greens will do well. If you're saying there's no Labour candidate as well, I think that's made for you.
Yeah, and I don't recognise. Apparently, Sarah Patricia Guinea used to be a mayor of St Neots, but not in my recollection.
Not name I remember. Yeah,
recognises as well. Gary, of all those candidates, only the two, Laura and I both obviously live in ward. Gary Hyams, a Conservative, does as well, but everybody else is from outside the ward. So that probably shows that they're not fighting very hard. Hopefully, and so hopefully we will win that. St Neots Eatons is going to be a battle. Man, how many are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Looks very independent as well, and Party of Women again. Was it Bev White who stood for Parliament as well, wasn't?
Yeah, she won't get any votes. She's not very. Yeah, she's not going to get any votes. I won't say anything because me and her don't get on. Barry Banks.
Parliamentary thing. I didn't expect she would stand for a local election because a lot of other parties stand for parliament. Interesting.
Yeah. Barry Banks is a current independent councillor there and has a very good personal reputation. So I expect Barry to get elected. We also have on this Jeff Seif, who's also a current county councillor there. We have Andy Jennings, who's a current district councillor there. Jackie Hunt, who is Nathan's, and I guess Nathan's mum and dad or relations of Nathan's. This one is really difficult to call. I know that the Conservatives and the Lib Dems are going to be fighting it out. I'm saying that Barry Banks I would expect to win normally, but if there's going to be a bun fight with lots of leafleting, it could get split between the Lib Dems and the Conservatives. Keep telling
one independent, so I think it will be Barry Banks plus probably Jeff Seif as Lib Dem plus one reform.
I don't expect the independents to do as well in this election, I have to say.
Right.
And the only thing I would say is, there's probably a bit of an incumbency there. But I think it's going to be a really close seat. I think that's one that will be too close to call. I might be wrong in this. I don't know the individuals well enough, but that would be my guess. Is that's probably too close to call. It'll be one of those seats where it'll be won by a tiny share of the vote.
All right, so we have a message now from our almost resident statistician who's not on the podcast, is David Landon Cole. He says that the only party standing in every ward is Reform.
What? I thought Tories have full slate.
No, is he talking about towns?
He probably is.
Certainly, Greens are standing.
We didn't get to towns yet. We're still in the middle of district.
Towns.
No, don't they normally stand as independents for town council?
There is so in South Cambs they are, but I know that Richard Tomlinson is standing as Conservative at town council, and so the ones that are standing at town councils are standing as Conservatives, I think, although I'm not sure if that's true. Yeah. This is too hard to call, and it's massive. What a massive slate. And like you say, on a massive slate like this, the variance is huge and anybody could get elected. Right, this is also a key, but this is my current ward where Ben Pitt, Richard Slade, and I are the three winners. We won by a big margin as independents last time. I don't think Ben and Richard are standing. They're not on the papers. So there is a previous independent councillor for this ward in Barry Chapman, who is a local legend, standing a very strong independent with a very strong following. But also the Lib Dems have it at county council, putting a strong slate up here. We have, where is the district councillor? Is Richard on there? Richard Tomlinson is one of my friends. Is on here as well. So this is going to. I think this is going to be. This would expect to be Conservatives versus Lib Dems, but with a Reform wildcard as well. Because I noticed from the returns at the general election, the Reform were doing very well here. I think that it will be Lib Dems. I think Barry won't win, which is weird because he's got a massive. Also, there's another candidate on there whose name I should have called out. There's three Greens on this paper, including a Christopher Darren Pascal Ferguson, who is my son, who's 24. So Christopher standing as a Green. Thank you, Christopher. There was some discussion at the elections office whether his middle name was Darren Pascal or Pascal Darren, and we had to check up because I didn't know. So that's a bit embarrassing. So my son is standing. Also, John Holmes, who's our campaign manager in East, is standing. Internet East is standing, and we've got three. So that's going to be a big battle. Who do we think is going to win this one?
I think 2 Reform, 1 Tory.
Do you know what? Go on.
I don't expect Barry to win, which is a shame. I like Barry, but I don't think independents are going to do very well. There's other places people will go with a protest vote this time, and it's a shame because he's a lot of history there. I think Reform will win it.
Do you know what? I say this with some inside knowledge, that my son Christopher is like, it used to be that when I walk around Tesco's, people used to stop me and talk. Now I can't walk around Tesco's with Christopher because everyone stops him to talk. Partly because he used to work as a barman in Wetherspoons, which means he's met everybody and everybody knows him, everybody loves him. So I don't expect Christopher to win necessarily, but I think he could be a wild card and pick up quite a few votes here. And part of the reason I'm not standing on this slate is I didn't want to get beaten by my own son. So that's the important thing. Because can you imagine how embarrassing that would be? It's gonna be bad enough getting beaten by Lara, but getting beaten by Chris would have been too much. What are you saying for this one? Sorry, Alex.
I think it's Richard Tomlinson a story plus to Reform, partly because I know Richard has put in obviously work for county and like over the last year done a lot of campaigning. So I think I would expect him to have, a lot of more name recognition just because he had a longer period of campaigning, and then Reform on the national swing.
Richard got well beaten in the county council elections though a year ago into like 3rd or 4th place here, and he has worked hard and he is very visible. He's the chair of the parish council. I think he won't win. I think it will be I'm going to go one Lib Dem, one Reform, and with my son Chris winning as Green, which will be would be very interesting for me. Right, Ives East.
I just wanted to put this up because Anthony's agreeing with me and that's good for my ego.
What does it say? I can't see the screen.
Oh, sorry, I'll put it up again. Don't think independent candidacy. It's just Anthony agreeing with me, saying it'll need a strong incumbent, high local profile vote to win, and he's right.
Yeah, it's the game has changed, and that's part of the reason why I joined the Greens, because I felt the pressure very squarely on my shoulders of standing up against Reform and not wanting to lose Reform and thinking I couldn't do it on my own. So it was a big part of my decision. Obviously, I agree with the values of the party, and obviously I'm a big fan of Lara. But in general, that's part of the reason why I did it. Right, so St Ives East, interesting. So we have here
many familiar names.
Familiar names like Luke. I never heard of Luke Viner. Luke Viner. Sometime partial host of this, has been on this podcast before. We know Sharika, who's the stand-in, who's already a councillor there. We know Michael Burke, who used to be an independent, is now a Lib Dem. Paul Bullen, who used to be a UKIP mayoral candidate, who's now a Conservative Party candidate, which is interesting. Was it UKIP or Reform? He's one of those, so he's gone the other way.
I think it was Brexit Party, wasn't he, at the time of the Brexit Party?
That is Reform, isn't it? Isn't that the same thing?
The pre-Reform times, I think.
Yeah. You're right. He was a UKIP group leader when I was for part of the time that I was leader at county. Yeah.
Yeah, he was as UKIP on county, and then he was a Brexit party candidate for some other elections after.
I'll let you go first on this then, because you know St Ives better than I do, Alex.
Also, I mean, we have people who stood before in county. So obviously, Martin Gill from the Tories and Noah Sanderson, who came second for Reform after Julie winning the seat in St Ives North and Whitton. So it's a return of some of the candidates for county 2025 as well. I think it will be one Reform and then one, depending on how the vote split, which I think is actually very unpredictable there, because you have an independent in the mix as well, who is obviously sitting councillor and quite well known, and you only have one Labour, and I was expecting to only have one Lib Dem, which is obviously Michael as ex-independent Lib Dem, but it's very clear they threw another Lib Dem very last minute, because you can see, it's someone who it was probably persuaded last minute to have a full slate there. Someone that hasn't been campaigning in the area. Obviously, Michael has been already delivering his leaflets. So I think it will be one Reform, Noah Sanderson, who stood for county before, plus either Michael or Sharika, or anything can happen. I mean, even the Green Party candidate could get in the votes, but that's the thing, you can get in on 15%. So I think it's like one Reform plus one surprise.
My guess is it's going to be reform, but again, it's one of those ones it's how the protest vote turns out. Those people that want to vote against incumbency, if they're going to, are they going to split towards Green, or are they going to split towards reform? And that's a hard one, but my guess is it's going to be reform.
Well, the reform vote is very high at county. Obviously, it's only part of the, the ward is only part of the county division, but sometimes North and Whitton, actually. Obviously, Julie, someone who's very well known, town mayor, been super active in the area for many years. Obviously, won the county seat, but yeah, reform was a close second. And I think everyone was quite shocked to see how well reform did in the county elections in that patch.
So I love Michael deeply. He used to be an independent in my group. He's now a Lib Dem. I hope Michael wins. I'm going to go one Lib Dem, one Reform. St Ives South. Never heard any of these people. This has got to be Reform, isn't it? Joking. I'm joking. So this is so we have Alex Boulat, who you might have heard of. Kath Gledow, former Labour councillor, also a very dear friend of mine, a socialist who I don't know why she's a Lib Dem these days, but she's a Lib Dem. Craig Smith, who stood for county, didn't he? Nick Well as Lib Dems. So we've got strong Lib Dems, really strong Lib Dems, a very strong Labour candidate who used to be a parliamentary candidate, a very successful parliamentary candidate. So I reckon that she will do very well on name. I think that Alex will get in here because of that.
Yeah,
I think the way Alex works, I think she'll walk it. That's the reality. I'm a big admirer of the amount of time Alex spends knocking on doors. God knows how you do it, but I think you'll walk it.
I have to be there every week. I think the interesting thing is, how the vote could split. And to be honest, canvassing every week, it is not unusual, and it's not many areas where people actually consider split vote, but it's not unusual. People say, I will vote for like the two candidates I know or the two candidates I met. I think it's a very engaged electorate as well, because also like it's so like highly contested and we campaign all year round as well. So I think, I think there are, and I've seen this in the county election, people like voting for, county for me and for Paul Bristow for mayor. So voting for two very different parties, that's based on like kind of, I wouldn't say personality politics, but I think like, I met Alex and I kind of see Paul's videos online and I will vote, for those two. So I think that kind of does play, there's a factor to consider as well. It's who people recognize from like, not only social media, but from the doorstep and leaflets and so on. Obviously I have worked every week to get like two Labour in there, so that's the result I hope for, but we'll see.
I think that's a Labour win. I think it'll buck a trend, I have to say, but that's what you did in the county election, so no reason why you can't do it again.
Do you think there's a propensity when I think when you've got a really strong candidate, and I hope this happens to say with Lara, is that you'll tick the second candidate? Do many people go, I'll vote Labour and Lib Dem? Maybe they do. I don't know.
Not many, but there are some.
You always get some, because if you look at the tickets, if you think about when you get 3-member wards, you always get one of the elected councillors with more votes than the others from the same party, even if all three get elected. So it does happen, and it does occasionally happen that you get, if a 3-member ward, you'll get 2 Conservatives and one Labour or Lib Dem in. It does happen. It doesn't. I don't think it happens very often, but we'll see. But I think that's a Labour win.
Stephen, your prediction?
I think you'll win. I'm going to go double Labour for that reason, because you campaign so hard, and for the same reason, in St Neots East, because Lara does the same thing, and she's been door knocking consistently throughout 4 years, and I've jumped in and I'm door knocking as well. But where you campaign really hard, I think that has a benefit. And I think that canvassing, despite the fact I've never done it before I joined the Greens properly, I think it does have a benefit. I think you demonstrate that, and I think you are, you're a great councillor, one of my favourite councillors. but also you've got great name recognition because you're a parliamentary. You did very well at you missed winning the parliamentary election by a whisker, and so I can't imagine that you're not going to get in. But we'll see, won't we? We'll see on the night. Nothing's
Anything
ever.
can happen.
I'll
still be canvassing every single week.
Like for you to win there, it's like Martin said, it's massively bucking the trend, isn't it? Because Labour, I'm not predicting Labour are going to do very well elsewhere. You might end up being the Labour leader on the council, which would be interesting.
But hopefully, I don't end up as a group of one. So, I very much hope, Will was, actually, he's a local teacher and he, lives in St. Ives. I very much hope he will win as well. So, at least I have a colleague in the St. Ives South.
One of the things I often say about local elections is, by and large, the trends go towards national politics, and it's how popular your party is at a national level. And your job as a candidate is to buck the national trend. If your party's doing well, your job is to do very well. If your party's doing poorly, your job is to do well. And I think this is one where Alex will do well.
Brilliant. Yeah, I agree. So St. Ives West, I think, is probably going to be clearer. And I'm going to call this there's one Green, one Reform, one Lib Dem, one Conservative. And I'm going to say that Julie Elizabeth Kerr, who is a triple hatter, a super triple hatter, because she's also Mayor of St. Ives, as well as being a triple hatter, is going to win this by a margin, I should imagine.
I totally agree. And yes,
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I've got nothing that says I should say otherwise. So
no.
Go
and
for
also,
it.
I mean, I adore her on every level, but also she was part of the Lib Dem independent group at county council when she didn't. She rebelled on the vote for what would they go for, option A, whatever they voted for. She rebelled on it as well. So I'm incredible and was punished as a consequence of that. So I'm very proud of her as a person. I think she's fantastic, and I think she is. With so few independents going to get in. For me, she's the most credible independent on the slate, I think. So, yeah. Oh, wow. Bloody hell.
Almost there.
Oh, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 in St. Ian's Amesbury, including... it's a 4-member seat? No, it's not.
No, it's a withdrawn nomination there.
No, I'm just counting the independents, but of course independents are not. You can have as many independents as you like. So we've got a Conservative withdrawn.
Yeah.
There's
still 3,
Got 4 indies. 4 indies, including Ian Pele Taylor, and Doug Terry. Jeff Seif's wife is a Lib Dem. I think this is Reform. I think this is a Reform hotbed.
I agree.
It's another one where somebody's going to win on a tiny share of the vote, and my guess is Reform.
If anybody's going to split them here, it's going to be independents. And so Sam Smith is a fantastic independent candidate. Ian Taylor and Doug Terry have got great local recognition. Well, I've worked really hard, so it's going to be Reform or Indy, but I think Reform might mop up in this one because of the area. Right, Stilton. We'll start rounding through these now. Is 2-member ward, 2 Conservatives, 1 Labour, 2 Reforms, 2 Lib Dems, and 1 Green. The Conservative is Marge Bitel, who's been there for ages. Tim Alban, who's both friends of mine, I guess. No, from district council. Going to be hard, isn't it? Though, isn't Stilton? What do you reckon? Is that former UKIP territory? Do you think?
I think UKIP have held Stilton before. I hope that Tim's profile will see him through.
Yeah, he's great.
But I can't. It's so tough in some of these seats. But I'm gonna let my head rule my heart and say it's going to be Reform. But yeah, I hate myself for saying it.
I think it's probably one Tory, one Reform there, but I'm not sure which one.
I'm going to Reform. Mark will kill me, but I hope Margin can win. Right. The Stucleys.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. 12, including Anne Blackwell and Tom Sanderson for the first time as Liberal Democrats. 3 Liberal Democrats, a 3-member ward, clearly. 3 reforms.
Yeah, there's three Lib Dems. Yeah.
Tom, going to call Tom for this? Tom's going to win this or not? In the Stucleys, surely Tom's going to win. He's the wild card, like me, is that he's standing as a Lib Dem rather than independent. But
I'm not sure. I was canvassing there recently, and I have to say, a few people were disappointed because a lot of people actually voted independent last time, and they were actually disappointed with the party switch. But of course, not a representative sample. But what I'm hearing is that some people actually, were disappointed about the switch to the Lib Dems.
who would win there if it wasn't Tom though? Conservatives.
At least one. And one a mix of 3.
My guess is that's going to be. I think Tom. This might be one where Tom wins and 2 others get in from other parties, but we'll see.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's go 1 independent, 2 conservatives. Sorry, 1 Lib Dem, 2 conservatives, being Tom. On to War Boys, which I can imagine is going to be Reform Heartland, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what's really interesting is I actually expected Sarah Smith, who obviously was parliamentary candidate for Reform UK in Huntingdon in the last general election. I did expect her to re-stand in Huntingdon North because that's where she stood, Huntingdon North and Hertford for. So I thought it would be like either Huntingdon East or Huntingdon North. So it's interesting that she actually is standing in War Boys. So I'm not sure if that means that they're quite sure that they will win all of the seats there, and Huntingdon North is more tricky because of the vote split. But it's interesting.
Bit of a chicken run, I think. Probably thinks War Boys is a better chance. So
Well, she stood in God Manchester before. I think that's where she stood previously for local elections. But it's interesting. So I think this means that the Reform are quite confident. So at least I think at least one will be Reform there, because otherwise why would you move? I'm not sure. Maybe she has business or other work there and so on. But I thought it was interesting.
Right. So then on to Is it Yaxley? Yeah, Yaxley. It must be the final one alphabetically. So this is a 3-member ward. Sally Howe was elected here as an independent, but is now a Lib Dem.
I see a pattern here.
Yeah.
In all the seats.
Yeah.
It's the Lib Dems seeing the writing on the wall, and the Lib Dems independents seeing the writing on the wall, and I don't blame them if they if they've got leanings that way and they're good councillors, why not? But and
I think that's what I said to Sally, who came to me when I was her group leader. Didn't know at the time that I was mid defection, was like being apologetic to me. But you've got to do what you've got to do to get elected, and I'd much rather have good councillors elected by no matter what party. I think, apart from Reform, people fail because they can't get re-elected, don't have the support. And I think, go on.
You've got to be able to look yourself in the mirror at the end of it. If the only reason you've done it is to stay elected, that's one thing. But I think if you can look yourself in the mirror and say that's where my values are as well, then I think fine.
I mean, I'm genuinely having the time of my life. I am as a Greek. I'm loving it. So it's fine. Right. So here, I think this is going to be Reform Heartland. Honestly.
Yes, I agree. And Yaxley.
We're calling it 3 reforms.
Yep.
Andrew Wood, who's a district councillor, lost his county council seat. He's on this slate, lost his county council seat to Reform. And I think Reform will pick up all 3 there. That's going to be one of their strong. War Boys and Yaxley must be one of their strongest rosters, I would say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to the end. So here's the big question then. What sort of council? We just made all our predictions and we weren't writing them down, but we'll go back afterwards and
I'll do a spreadsheet next. Don't worry.
What sort of council do you think we're looking at the end of this? Is the big interesting question, not individual wards, but we're not. We talked a lot about Lib Dems early on, but they faded out quite a lot later on the papers, didn't they? So at the moment we've got 16 Lib Dems late in the administration. They elected 10 last time, but through defections, they're up to 16. So 16 Lib Dems. Are they going to get 16 or more than 16? I don't think we probably
No,
can.
fewer. I think the Lib Dem ceiling has been reached. So I think obviously they will retain in their strongholds, like we discussed, got Manchester and Brampton, but I think the ceiling has been reached, unless you have those weird vote splits when you get one Lib Dem out of like a 6-party contest. Obviously we have probably like reform at least between 6 to 12 seats reform.
So in terms of who's the biggest, so taking reform out of it, so reform might be the second biggest, or could be even the biggest party like the Conservatives are, but there'll be some sort of coalition against reform, you can guarantee.
I had a look at this in Huntingdonshire a few weeks ago, and I have a feeling that the decision making is going to be down to the Conservatives, and they are going to have to decide whether they form a coalition with reform and within the council, or that they join with the current Rainbow Coalition to keep reform out of power.
Well. Yeah, but will the question is this, isn't it? So first question, mine. Will the Conservatives be allowed to form coalitions with reform?
The Conservative Party is not governed in the same way that the Labour Party is. So my gut instinct is, unless there's a general directive comes down, the Conservatives won't interfere with the decision that's made locally.
But even locally, would it be good for business? I mean, it's a chance to be in administration again. Many of them thought they might not be.
I don't see how it's in the I don't see how it's in the Conservatives' interest to form a coalition with reform.
I agree with you.
But it's a Conservative decision, and it might be that Conservatives say we're keeping out of it, and it ends up with reform running a minority administration. But it could be the Conservatives sat in the middle, holding the balance of power and making the decisions. And I hope they be brave and don't pull up and go one way or the other, rather than just sit on the fence and let others fight it out.
Yeah, so I think the other big question is this. So there's two options. Will the Conservatives get into bed with reform, which is a very bitter pill? But who of the current joint administration, given that there won't be many independents left, will get into bed with the Conservatives? Now, I think the mood music around Huntingdonshire is that the Lib Dems would. Yeah, and I think you see that with some of the coverage of the John Major thing recently, and everybody being. I didn't go to that on purpose. I wonder. I think we might see a Lib Dem Conservative coalition with everybody else on the outside if they've got enough numbers. Would be my prediction.
Yeah, but my instinct is that the numbers won't be there, and it'll be down to one party sat in the middle deciding which way to go. And there's a realization, which is how much do you want reform to run an administration in Huntingdonshire, and especially given what you see about reform-led councils elsewhere in the country, which, to be honest, are not quite universally, but fairly universally dreadful. What you're going to do? Are you going to do something that's in the best interest of your party? Or are you going to do something that's in the best interest of Huntingdonshire? And that's a decision people have got to make. I think,
I would find it in general pretty. I mean, it's not my decision, and we haven't had this chat yet. But off my own heart, I think getting into bed with the Conservatives is something I would never imagine doing during my political career. But the only reason we might end up doing that is to keep reform out of administration. Is the truth, which will be possible. Can you imagine? I don't know. Can you imagine Labour Well, would Labour even be allowed to join a coalition, do you think, Alex, or not, with the Conservatives?
Well, the short answer is no. And then I think the other consideration is the fact that like the district council is only for a year or two. So I think it would be interesting to see if like, smaller groups or independents would even consider, because in a way, if you're like kind of planning towards the unitaries, some people will be like, does it really matter? Because everything will be about reorganization and not many very big decisions will be taken in the next year, apart from doing this whole LGR, which is obviously a massive decision, but in terms of like things that we might disagree with. And actually on LGR, actually there's agreement across the parties as well. So I think maybe some of the political differences are not as prominent given what this next council will do.
Pretty much every single Reform councillor is going to be brand new.
Yeah.
And you are going to have brand new councillors. You're going to have brand new councillors having to go through all of the process of helping to set up the new administration for LGR, and going through all the shadow council stuff and all that stuff. And it surely would not be in the interests of the people of Huntingdonshire, for the Labour Party or anybody else to back out of forming a joint administration and to allow that to happen. And
not on LGR. I think on LGR is one of the topics I'm very happy to work cross party, but it doesn't mean doing a coalition agreement or a joint administration. It can be confidence on key votes.
But it will, because you'll be setting up shadow committees and stuff like that, where the numbers will be based on political balance and all sorts of stuff. And there'll be all sorts of other things going on, and an administration, cabinet decisions being made around this as well. And I just think letting Reform run a minority administration in those I personally think in any circumstances is the worst of all the options.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you on that. The question is as well whether Reform will have the numbers to have a minority. I think that's also like, we are making a lot of assumptions there, because it depends on how many unpredictable seats there are. They might not even have enough. Like, what if they only have 6 or 7 or...
Absolutely. We're talking hypotheticals here, but I just the instinct in me is Reform are going to do very well in this election. I think the Greens will do very well in this election as well. How well they do in Huntingdonshire, we'll see. But they've got 2 good Green councillors to stand up and say we've done things. We'll see. And also, I think Reform will do better.
I think the national picture might help us as well, because we are, we're leading some polls, and some people will vote on those lines, and so I think we're going to do much. We've never been more prominent, the Greens as well. So I think we're going to. I think we might pick up 4, in total.
The other thing is, during this election, the Reform are pretty much a known now. Their record in local government is there for people to see. And I think that counts for something. I'm not sure that's there for the Greens, and that will make a difference as well.
In Huntingdonshire,
absolutely, it is in Huntingdonshire. I agree.
So we have got that reputation, and Laura and I have been in the cabinet for the whole of the 4 years as well, and have got a great track record.
But there are things that people are uneasy about with the Greens at a national level as well, and it's how much those issues come out during this election campaign as well.
I'm not feeling much of that on social media and canvassing, but I'm based in this area, and it's not going to be true across the whole district. So, and I would say also that that when the joint administration was formed, basically on the night of the election in Burgess Hall, there was lots of people were like deers in headlights. Didn't know what they were doing. We're all very experienced campaigners now, and so I guess Lara will be the one negotiating for us. But I would imagine that if we are the kingmakers, then our price is going to be high, because that's the way it works, isn't it? So, we'll just have to see. And I'd also be genuinely happy, to sit in opposition for once as well, after being in administration my whole political career. I think
it's very fun at county, Stephen, I have to say.
Say what?
I have to say opposition at county is very, very enjoyable.
It is though, because there's so much more freedom, isn't there? And you can talk and like whether I always vote on principles, but sometimes you can't stick the boot into the administration. Not that there's been many occasions where I wanted to, but there's times when I've disagreed, and we've sorted out those disagreements behind the scene. But now, like, no, do you know what? I'm not going to be one of those bitter administration members. I'm going to support the administration when they do the right things, genuinely, because that's who I am. And I'm also going to give them a good kicking when they do the bad things. So that's I'm looking forward to it.
Same, it's like they're like reasonable things, like things that you generally have to work cross party, like LGR, and things where you disagree, like, I don't know, free parking. And that's just how it is.
Right. Yeah, well, we'll have to see how it works out, first of all. I wish you both absolute success. I'm very confident for you both. I wish you all the best. And I know Anthony mentioned some stuff about the Lib Dems in South Cams, and my gut instincts is the Lib Dems will stay in control in South Cams.
Well, thank you, Martin. And we'll do the town council contested another time, because we've already done an hour and a half of predictions.
Yeah, I will try.
For those who want even more excitement this evening, there's contested and uncontested town and parish council elections documents on the HDC website, and a lot of 17 pages of contested seats for town and parish council. So have fun this evening.
I'm also standing for town council. I'm standing for town council again, out of ward as well.
And it is worth saying, much as I am concerned about the level of the vote that winning candidates are going to take as a share of the electorate, it's great to see so many candidates standing. Yeah, definitely. All right. On that note, I'm going to read the town council contested elections. See you both soon, and
have a lovely evening. And thank you for putting up with our dreadful production values and my swear as well. Night, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.